Hey everyone, welcome to ArtCo Afternoon Arts. Thank you for joining me. My name's Amber Crimmings. I am the Artistic Director / Cat Herder for Deep Ellum Art Company, and we bring these art classes to you in your home so that we can create together, learn a little bit about art, and then continue to help grow our community while we're not able to partake in regular operations. And I really love getting reconnected with my kind of official teaching experience, and since I don't get a chance to mentor and work with my artists face to face, this is a really fun way to kind of connect, learn a little bit more about art, since we do focus on that a lot during our operation, not just music events. You know, we're a multi-use creative venue, so we do a lot of different things on site. Make sure you're taking a look at our website. You're looking at all the things that our artists have to offer. You see, you found something fun to play with there because I've got a little fake butterfly. We've also got a lot of live videos up, so make sure you're taking a look at our YouTube video for archive classes. You're looking at Facebook. You're also looking on our we've got our Instagram with a lot of artist shout outs, and this weekend, guys, we are celebrating our 3rd anniversary. We wish we could do it with our doors are open, but we are still going to virtually be doing an anniversary for that, so make sure that you're purchasing your tickets for our virtual concert with Forgotten Space. Some of our favorite guys. I'm going to knock you guys down, that way you can see old Doobs. Well, now he's not even playing now. You can see he's decided to play with all kinds of things. He's digging in my basket now. See, I've got a little craft like butterfly thing right here, and so he's decided that this is his new favorite toy. So make sure you're also taking a look at our streams tonight. Tonight should be the start of that run of streaming, so make sure that you're purchasing some tickets. You're helping support us. You're also helping support our local artists. I'm having some cable problems today. And also you get a wonderful experience playing music while you're hanging out in your own home. That's always a wonderful and fun thing to be able to do. Hey Bill, hey Linda, happy you guys are hanging out. Happy Wednesday. We're doing pretty well. I really enjoyed the class yesterday too. I'm happy that you guys liked it. Today we're going to learn a little about Frank Stella. We're going a little bit more rigid, a lot cleaner painting today, and working on a lot of geometric designs kind of floating in and out of each other. So this is going to be a really fun day, a nice way to kind of kick off our, leading up into our anniversary weekend. I know we've got a bunch of rain these next couple days. We started getting some panels up on site. Make sure you take a look at the progress of that upcoming show in the yard, showcasing all the panels from the businesses all around Deep Ellum. We are going to try to get some more filming and stuff done on site, on some more stuff put up on Friday or Saturday, depending on what the weather and the state of the yard is and how much rain. I think we're in a flood watch till like Thursday morning, so who knows how much rain we'll actually get, because it's Texas. Sometimes the weathermen are right and sometimes they are not, so we'll just see. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about Frank Stella. I do have one image here that I wanted to show you guys. I've got like my little art book. I'll move all this other stuff out of the way because we don't really need it yet, but we are going to need some really nice sharp kind of images. Now, I like Frank Stella. He does a lot of different types of abstract. Let me pull up. Now right here we've got a nice little abstract. I'm going to pull you down so you can see it better. Now Frank Stella worked and focused on bright line work. And so his line work was really, really fun. Here's one that's called Heron from 1967. And you see how he plays with color theory on there. And then he's also playing with very, very sharp and clean geometric shapes with those real nice light lines in between. And so you see how these look like they overlap in different ways. Yeah, they're not single entities, and how the color plays change and interchange through those. So he was a really great influential artist in our past, especially in American and world art. I'll say one of my favorite quotes of his is, "I like real art. It's difficult to define real, but it is the best word for describing what I like to get out of art and what the best art has. It has the ability to convince you that it's present, that it's there. You could say it's authentic, but real is actually a better word, broad as it may be." So I really like how Frank Stella's brain kind of operated. You know, he had a permanent residence in New York. He received his his bachelor's in 1958 from Princeton University. And he was really, during this time of this impressionist abstract art movement, he was kind of viewed, and he was literally called kind of the bad boy, or the bad boy of art, or the bad boy artist type, because he moved far away from the impressionist style, which really was showing all those brush strokes and a multitude of colors to represent things, probably not in the most realistic color senses. And so he took abstraction on a more geometric and very simple and clean line route. And so he gained a lot of popularity through that, especially through the 50s and 60s. The movements really started going into the direction and following Frank. As a matter of fact, he got his first solo show in New York in 1962, and then he ended up being a teacher and was teaching advanced art classes, and then, you know, the Museum of Modern Art ended up giving him a first retrospective in 1970. And so he had this career in New York that just kind of blossomed and grew and kind of created this clean version of abstraction, even amidst the popularity of the Impressionists. So it's a really, really fun artist to kind of explore, and I really like his art because it's something that we can go in with a ruler and angles, and if we're really careful, this really is a lot about technique, and I'll walk you through how to figure out some of the design stuff and some of the problem solving. Bill says, "Saw the panels on your Facebook page, anxious to see them in person." Man, I am too. I'm excited to get the rest up. I'm sad that the rain got in the way, because I was like ready to go at like 6 a.m. every morning, but that doesn't work when it's raining and the yard is a mess from the rain. So we're going to put that project off just a bit. But we don't have to put this project off. So we're going to work with this, and we're going to create this really fun thing about Frank Stella. Today's Wacky Wednesday. I think we're just going to work on some paper in my sketchbook for this, and I'm just going to play. Now, this is something that you have a protractor, you have a ruler, you know, you've got a compass, anything that you've got that's going to give you shapes. Now, if you don't have any kind of drawing tools, you know, there's you can't see me. There's a variety of things that you can use in order to help you get shapes. Think bowls, think cups, think the bottoms of glasses, right? Can give you some nice circles. So you can pull together some objects that you might have in your house that are a variety of sizes, so that you can use those in order to create a Frank Stella inspired type of painting. So I think that that would be really, really fun. Now I'm just going to start with some basic circles, because I have this circle, and I think this is going to help make things a little bit easier for me. Yeah. And so I'm going to play around with this. I'm also going to be using a pencil. Actually, you know what? We'll do this in like a marker-esque, since we want to get this done fairly fast. I wonder if you'll be able to see this gray one on there. Oh, you'll be able to see that. That's a little dark, though. Oh, that one shouldn't be in there. Well, you know what we will stick with is we'll use a highlighter. We'll do our version using these, I don't think you'll be able to see that, though. Oh, yeah, you will. Okay, a highlighter will work. Okay, so we're going to work on creating some basic shapes out of here. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and set my circle in a spot. And you know, I think I want it to just be a little bit off to the side. And I'm going to use my highlighter because I really want to make sure that I have light lines. And I think my highlighter will help me make sure that I keep this, you know, because Stella's, he has like these white or grayish lines in between instead of black in between his color plays. And I think that's nice. But again, we're inspired by him. And I'm also trying to use materials that you can see online. So I'm going to use my highlighter. I'm going to keep my tool here because see, I've got this part that moves. But if you notice, I've got a really great kind of down line here, right here in the center, so that I don't have to go around and measure it. So I'm actually going to use my pencil here in order to create a really thin light line. I'm erasing it because I don't want it really dark, because I just want to have my highlighter be the line. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create my first little boundary line here. Because I'm just going to kind of play around with these, you know. Now I've got this. Now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to create a circle that's much smaller. So I've got measurements on here. If you can see, they go out from 0 to 1 to 2. And we've got about a 3/4. I think I'm going to stick right at the 2. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to create another little circle in there. You see that? Oh, I don't want to do that yet. I want to measure it first. I want to make sure I've got about 3/4. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get that same measurement because I want to make sure that I'm creating this very accurate geometric piece in here because we're inspired by Frank's preciseness. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and erase this out just a bit. And you can do this straight with your highlighter depending on what your materials are that you're using. Me, I'm just sticking with what I got here. And so I'm just getting these guys drawn in. And so I'm getting this nice little play on my circle. You see how I'm starting to get some really cool little shifts in there. So I think I'm going to stick with that. And now I'm going to start working on integrating my circles together. And I'm going to kind of do this with my pencil here. I'm actually going to overlap this guy with another. And so I'm going to go in. I'm going to pencil line all of these in. So that I can get some nice circles going on. And then we're going to start doing some overlaps here. And I'm going to go ahead and overlap these in their entirety around. Oh, I guess I can't. My ring gets in the way. Okay. I'm going to go around and just kind of draw in the rest of this circle. I can estimate the rest of that. Enough. There we go. That'll work. And so I'm just going to play around with some of these overlaps, you know. I'm going to totally get some lines going this way. I think that would be fun. I'm actually going to get a little triangle of sorts. I'll do that line. So I'm going to play around with a lot of these. You know, he just took these shapes and he would throw them on top of each other and just play around with all these different ways in order to get them to kind of interact together. So I'm just kind of going with it. I'm trying to be creative and playful, thinking about the ways that he overlapped things. And then I'm going to go in and create some other overlaps here. So this is a fun project to work on, guys. Coins for small circles. Yes, Bill, you could totally use coins for small circles. I'm working pretty big, but I'm just playing around with this, trying to get all of our, you know, kind of shapes going on in a fun kind of process and way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm really just as in this planning phase, you guys, like I got one thing done, but then I realized maybe I shouldn't be doing all of my stuff with highlighter as I go along, because I'm going to want to play with the overlapping. Okay, so I've got a really fun kind of shape so far, and I've got a lot of confusing stuff that's overlapping and all that jazz. So we're going to play around with how we're going to set up our background. So first off, before I do anything else, I do want to designate my background, because my background's going to give me some really nice different colors. So I want to make sure that maybe I gotta figure out my overlaps first. See, we're playing around. I'm learning too as we go. So I'm gonna take this guy and we're gonna erase. Now I'm gonna use my eraser liberally. Well, if I can find my eraser, I will use it liberally. And so now we're gonna start erasing out the things that we want to stay, so we can figure out what's overlapping on top of each other. Because right now I've got a lot of intersecting lines. So now I've got to decide the things that lay on top and the things that I need to erase away. And this is where I'm going to make all these decisions, is with my eraser. So that we can get this nice sense of geometric happiness happening here. I'm going to go ahead and erase that one out. And then I think we're going to erase all this out, because I want this guy on top of everything. I think that'll actually look pretty neat. And then we're going to let this guy take over right here. And then I'm going to let this guy be the prominent one here. And so we're going to create this really complicated thing. Super complicated if we tried to draw it out and figure this out as we went. And so for me, I think that this is fun, that I kind of go through and I figure out what stuff is on top and what stuff is going underneath as well. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to go ahead and close that off, because I want that on top of that here. But then I want this on top of everything here, except that, and then I want these to go away. There we go. So we've got a nice overlap. I really like working with the geometric shapes. I think it's a good way to practice our clean drawing. It's also a good way to kind of figure out how we want things to kind of form out. I think we are actually going to try to get this to go through here, even though I already kind of messed up and used I got ahead of myself, you guys. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and have that be on top, and then I'm going to have that be under. And then I'm going to have this be on top. You You know, you can go in, you can go in and add more lines as you go. Remember, I'm just kind of working off of a little bit of inspiration from him. I'm keeping it nice and simple because we're already about halfway through. So we're just going to continue on and start working on getting some colors in. I'm going to use some markers for this project because I really just want to have some nice clean things. So I'm going to go in and start just working on my color sets. Now that I have, actually, you know what? I want to erase out my lines and then we'll go over them with our highlighters here. And so I'm just kind of going through and erasing things out as I go. That way I can see those ghosts enough to make the lines. But I also am not making those lines be dark, because remember, part of Frank's process was to have these lighter lines in between everything. And so we want to make sure that we're showcasing that ourselves in our own drawings. So I'm just I'm doing this the simple way. Remember, you can use any medium you want as you work on these projects with me. You know, I'm trying to fit these in an hour-long class too. So if I painted this after all the prep, it'd probably take me a really long time. So I'm just kind of working on showcasing this. That comes out really neat, actually. All of the highlighter work. And so I'm going on getting all of my angles in and getting all of my stuff outlined. Remember, I don't want to have dark outlines for this. Now you can, if you're painting, you can leave your dark outlines, and then what you can do is you can paint over it with a white, or say you have a paint marker that's white. You can go over it in that manner so that you can ensure that you've got a really nice, clean, nice shape in there. We're almost done going through the outlining, trying to get this. That way I have a nice thick boundary here already designated with my highlighter. And, you know, I'm gonna draw up to this boundary, but I'm gonna leave these fat lines here because I need these for the contrast in the rest of my drawing, because in my case I'm doing markers on this. And so I'm just going through and I'm defining what's on top of what. And like I said, this can become a really fun. Look at that. My marker, my highlighter's kind of going, but that's okay. We're working with the materials we have. You know, if this is what you've got at home, that's okay. You can still do these projects with me. Even when I'm talking about paint, y'all, if you don't have paint, that's okay. Just do the same thing and just apply the color with something else. Or you can watch and be like, ooh, that material looks like something I'd want to invest in because it looks like fun and maybe I could do that. So there's lots of ways for us to play with this. If I do this one line at a time, I'm less likely to accidentally highlight things that I don't want to highlight. And I really like Frank Stella because he has this really like rigid and clean. It was really nice to see the influence that he had over the 60s in changing from this loose brush impressionistic style for abstraction and going for the cleaner. Okay, so I'm going in, I'm almost done. You see how much erasing I have? Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles as an artist. We erase a lot. That's why our brains tend to do all right, because we're resilient things. Alright, I'm going in, getting the rest of this angle put in, and all of these are going to receive color. I may add a couple more lines in though, just to add a little bit more interest for some of our circles, but I don't think I need to outline that stuff. I think I'll just do it as I go. Because remember, I'm inspired by Frank Stella, but I didn't look at one of his paintings in order to, you know, have that be what I created. So now I've got this really fun kind of, right now it's glowy because I've got this cool, bright yellow as my line work. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to start playing around with some of my colors. So I think I'm going to go in and I'm going to get a nice orange here. And I'm going to use this in order to, I think we're going to fill in this section right here. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to get a nice straight line up against where my highlight is. You know, I'm using simple materials today. These art classes are not always about getting a final piece. Sometimes they're about wrapping our brain around how to layer things like this. You know, you just watch me draw everything on top of each other, which, you know, I'm not trying always to plan everything at the same time. And you got to see how I took that and then also played around with, I think I'm going to add a red back in the other one. Play around with how our colors change and morph. I'm going to actually go in and do a red up here. I'm going to kind of work in one area. This red looks a lot like the orange. I guess not, it's slightly different. Slightly. Maybe more than slightly. So I'm just going in and getting my colors put in. I'm avoiding my boundary lines. I want to leave those bright, bold yellow ones in there. And so I'm just going in and getting this colored in with a marker that is almost dead. That's right. Okay. I've got my orange, my red. I think I'm going to work with a nice deep blue over here. And I think I'm actually going to get this one taken care of. And so I'm going in and I'm trying to keep in mind my color planning. Now what you can do at this point, you can also do your own color planning, and you can decide to lay out your colors before you even start. That way you can set up interesting contrasts. If you notice, I kind of like to go along the edges of my shapes first. That way I make sure I get them nice and framed out, much like a house and building, and then I can fill in the rest. And see, I can move a little different when I'm filling it in versus when I'm lining it out. And sometimes with markers, if we do them in a circular motion, then we avoid that line look. Instead, we can get a nice clean look. I'm going to do this as clean as we can with our markers. Yeah, so we're continuing to play around with this and continuing to have our shapes overlap and play with each other. So I'm going to go through here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a different color for this. And I think we're going to play around with a green on this one. We'll get our first kind of boundary line going between two colors. You know, simple techniques in drawing. And this is a fun kind of class. Anybody can do this. Depending on what your materials are, you can paint this out. You don't have to use yellow. I mean, Frank uses like an off-white and kind of grayish color. But I mean, the key with this is that we have nice sharp lines on the outside no matter what medium we use, and that it's applied in as even a manner as possible so that you get this very nice, strong, clean, geometric look. Is really the goal with this. You don't have to use fancy materials in order to create really great beginnings of pieces, you know. I show you guys a wide variety of techniques and pieces, and we go through a wide variety of materials because these are intended to be classes that help you learn how to be creative, you know, on your own as well. Everybody, we've got plenty of those drink and paint by the numbers classes everywhere. But that's not the goal of this. The goal of this is to teach you technique and teach you how to use mediums, teach you how to think differently, and that way you can kind of mash what you're passionate about. Maybe I taught one class where you really like the imagery, and then I taught a totally different class where you really like that medium. Put those two together, and then you've got something that works really well for you. Bill says, how about a mixed media class with a homemade spirograph for the younger ones? YouTube videos making one and then spicing up with colors. Hey, that looks like fun. Yeah, we should totally do that. That would be a really fun, maybe Thursday class as well. I like that idea. Thank you so much for that, Bill. I'm going to go through and continue to add in our colors here. I've got a green and it's running. Oh, you can't see. I've got a green and it's running through. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to get this lined out. I'm going to keep a nice straight line here. Oh wait, this is the one that's going through. This is the one that I messed up. So I'm going to line out this way. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That was the goal here. I might need another green though, because this one's not pairing too well. Well, we've got to make it work, because it's the last one of this color that I've got on hand. I need to buy more markers badly. I finally run these markers out. But I mean, we got a lot of classes out of them, I think. That's also why I'm having to go in a circular motion, because my marker is barely making it. Make sure you guys Bill, Linda, are you guys checking out our live stream tonight? Make sure you do. We've also got some artwork that's going to be coming up, popping up on our virtual art gallery. We're creating a new virtual art gallery show, and it's all going to be work that's donated by artists to Deep Ellum Art Company to help us keep our doors open, help give back to all the community that we work to give artists, and we're excited about that and super grateful. All right, we're getting some fun stuff going on here. I'm going to use a purple for this one. And you see, as we start working around these boundary lines, you know, sometimes just changing how things are lined out, aka instead of a black line, a white or hot bright yellow line, makes a big difference in our pieces. So I'm going to go in, get this done. I can't wait till I can teach some art classes in person, y'all. I miss doing that as well. Yeah. This will be fun. I think this will turn out really, really nice. I'm going to get my purple going on. We're filling out our paper. Again, you can do this in a variety of ways. If you don't like how it looks, whatever material you're using, just change the way that you apply it. Again, if you don't want the line work that you see with markers, then apply it in circular motions instead of going back and forth. This will help even out the pigment a little bit. So I'm going in and getting my shape colored in. And we're working on our Frank Stella inspired piece. You see how this is starting to kind of come together just a bit here. I'm going to have some, maybe this hot pink will look pretty cool. Oh yeah, we'll get that one here. So I'm going through, I'm getting this lined out. I'm going to get this whole shape lined out before I start working on filling it in. Get a little bit around that outside edge. I'm going to work on filling this in. And really what I want to try my best to do is to really keep a uniform distance here. I don't know if that's the same. I sure do have a lot of markers that are dying. I think I'm just going to buy some new ones after today. Alright, so I'm getting my pink in here. I'm going to try to make it last long enough so I don't have to go back and redo it. So I'm getting this guy all colored in. Does anybody have any big plans for this weekend? I know we've got some rain coming. I hope everybody's doing alright. I think I am going to have to just kind of, maybe this one will be close enough. Oh yeah, that'll be close enough for government work. We'll just do that, because that other one's dead, dead, dead. Dead, dead, dead. Okay, so we've got our nice pink layer figured out here. Alright, so we're starting to get these really cool boundary lines. I really like those. I really dig them. I think they're super fun. We're going to get like a browner look going on. Hopefully this one's not. Oh, this one will be alright. So I'm going to work with a more simplistic color here. And so you'll see the culmination of all these different boundary lines just working together in order to help showcase this shape here. And again, this is great material practice for sharpness and cleanliness. You know, real sharp and clean paintings or drawings, you know, have that attention to detail on that sharp line work. And so that's really what we're looking for and what we want in our pieces, especially when we're working on stuff like this that has that need for that aesthetic of that really nice, clean, sharp line. And we need that sometimes, even if we're doing pieces that are full of variety and that don't always have sharp lines in every aspect of them, but only in a few select places. It's important that we know how to do that and vary that, and then also, you know, execute it as well. So I'm going through and I'm filling in my colors. I'm trying to pay attention to what is what here. Trying to make sure that we're following through. Ooh, that one's really good. We're not even messing with that. Get these guys really through. Get a nice light purple here. Remember, I want to line all this stuff out before I actually start filling in. So I want to make sure I've got nice, clean outside lines. Make sure those are all nice and taken care of so that we have a nice, clean, sharp shape. You notice I'm kind of following around with my circle. Now I can change up the colors on these, but I'm just choosing to do this because then it creates a sense of cohesiveness, of like the shape does indeed go around. Yeah, that makes it kind of fun, I think. Oh yeah, this is turning out kind of fun. We're having fun with this. I like this. I like it a lot. I'm going to use a bright blue Sharpie marker here. And I think I'm going to use this for this long one here. And so you see I'm lining it out. This one I think I'm just going to get the whole shape in. And so I'm just going to go back and forth with this one. That'll work. I don't want to have any white of my paper show. I want to make sure as I'm filling in that I'm being cognizant of that. That I'm not taking away from anything, that I'm not leaving any white. I want to leave those boundary lines there. I want that bright yellow to peek out on everything as it intercepts and overlaps and all that jazz. So we're just going through, we're getting our color applied, trying to keep things nice and sharp, like all kinds of things in our life, I guess. This is a great way too. I like the meditation of drawing very, 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 sharp. Bill says, plans for this, looking forward to smoking with strangers. I am excited about smoking with strangers, you guys. They're so great. If you haven't caught them yet, make sure you tune in and listen. An amazing eclectic trio. Yeah, they're really, really good. Not sure did this last weekend. Denton Town Square. Ooh, is Denton Town Square nice? I've never been to St. Joe. St. Joe sounds, or Forestburg. I like Moonster, I've been there. Fisher's Meat Market, that's a good one. I like driving around. I like, have you guys ever been to Salado, Texas? I've got friends down there. It's about 2 hours south of here or so. Oh yeah, this is starting to look real neat. You see as this starts kind of coming together, you start to really notice those boundary lines more and they pop out. This makes for a really fun project. Again, I'm doing this in marker. You can do this in paint. I'm only doing it in marker because this would have taken me a really long time to do in paint and we wouldn't have finished this class because I don't do these pre-classes where we speed it up and have things pre-done because I think it ruins for you guys the idea. It makes the creative process feel less attainable because you see me do all kinds of stuff that I already had prep for, whereas you don't have that kind of prep. So I try to demonstrate how I want you to create. And so you see I've taken this inspiration of Frank Stella and I'm using it just with simple markers to play around with how I would figure out my design work. You know, a lot of artists use markers to do planning anyway. So, you know, I'm just kind of playing around with this. Makes for a fun kind of shape and fun different color sets. I dig these. I'm going to go ahead and do a, ooh, that's a little, that's fine, whatever. Slightly different green color. I like that. That's a good combo right there. It'll work. And so I'm going through, I'm lining out my shape first, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to fill it in. This makes for a really fun painting project, dry media project, and this can really create some cool ways to integrate in with your subject matter. I mean, think about having all these geometric shapes overlapping, etc., and then you've suddenly got like something realistic coming out of all of this. There's lots of ways to play around with this stuff. So make sure you're not discounting techniques and you're not discounting things, because you would be surprised at just how many things could really work out nicely and well. For finished, finalized fine art pieces, just like Frank Stella's pieces. You know, he was kind of mocked for his simplicity, but as you can tell, simplicity can be enduring. I would knock the simple things. Alright, so I'm getting this circle all colored out. Oh yeah, I'm definitely buying markers before I do another one of these projects. I think I've got too many that are dying. Okay. Alright, we are just going places, you guys. I'm going to get a nice brown one in here. Get a nice little brown circle going. Oh, we needed more orange on that side. I didn't realize that. Okay, I lined it out so I could get my nice clean edges, and I'm getting my inside done. I need to go back and get this orange part added. So you see, oh, this is really turning out cool. It's turning out cool. Let's see, what else do we have? We'll do I think over here I'll do another light brown color. Oh, that's not a light brown color at all. It's a dark brown. Okay, so I'm going to go in, get my shading done. Not my shading, get my coloring. I want to fill up this space with color, in this case brown. So I'm just working in. We're working on our Frank Stella inspired piece. I'm just using markers, that way I could show you the basics of design and playing around with how to do all these complicated objects on top of each other, but still keep track of exactly how they're interacting with each other. You know, this is a really important thing for us to be able to achieve, because this will help us figure out how to get all these overlaps, and overlaps help us kind of figure out senses of space. So when things are on top of each other, it gives us an idea of what things are in front of each other, right? Like as you see me drawing, you know there's a sense of space here, because my hand gets bigger when it gets closer to you, and then it obscures everything. So you get an idea, you know, that there's this sense. So I'm going in, I'm getting all these colors. Hey, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, Bill, Linda. It's always a pleasure to make things with you. I'm going to go in and get a bright red in here. I'm getting this colored in, filled in. This makes for a really fun project that also lets us take some inspiration from, you know, some of our master sort of artists and, you know, create this cool special piece using our brighter boundary lines. You see how very quickly that creates this really cool geometric, oh, like landscape. It's so fun. And so I'm just going through, getting this all colored in. I want to make sure all my white paper is covered up. I don't want to have any white paper at all. I just want my bold, bright colors applied as evenly as possible. I'm using marker. You can use paint and give you that nice, super flat look that Frank Stella has always showcased. And then, you know, we've got one more. We've got just one more, guys. One more, guys. And I think in that one, I'm just going to put a nice, orange in that one. It's enough of a contrast. From the yellow, you know, because I always want to kind of think about contrast and what colors are next to each other, etc. So just played around with this. This is a super fun project where we get to play around with this idea of Frank Stella and the idea of playing around with really nice clean shapes that are overlapping on each other, playing around with the idea of these repeated circular patterns where some are overlapped and some are on top of each other. So it was a really fun way to explore a little bit of how maybe his process went, and then also explore this technique that perhaps you don't normally use, but it can create some really fun, interesting things just by drawing a bunch of geometric shapes on top of each other and then choosing how they dissect and how they overlap and all that jazz. Bill says, thanks for another fun class. See you at the stream. Hey, thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure to create with you. Make sure that you're looking at our streams. We've got all kinds of art classes on our archive streams. We've got live streams going on tonight. Make sure you're purchasing a ticket for our Forgotten Space and our anniversary event this weekend, our virtual one. Please make sure that you're supporting community spots like us and you're going on to saveourstages.com and you're signing legislation to help all of these live event venues. I don't know if you guys noticed, but last night in Dallas, all of Dallas really shunned red lights as a red alert to bring awareness to the fact that our live event venues and all the personnel in the humongous sector of commerce and job and work sector that revolves around that is really having problems surviving. So make sure you guys are clicking on legislation. You're supporting your local businesses either monetarily through your patronage or also speaking about it and spreading out and maybe even taking a 10-second video and saying how much you appreciate and care for your local spots. Those things can go a really long way. Grassroots, love is something that not only can help a small business, but it can also help uplift and make them be like, I can do this. And sometimes as people, we all need that a little bit. So that's something free that you can do today. So please make sure that you guys do that and do it for every spot that sings to your soul, because we're certainly, I know, not the only one, especially in Dallas, that's absolutely just dedicated and amazing, you know. So make sure that you're singing out about all those spots that are amazing to you as well. Thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure to create with you. Make sure that you're checking out our YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all at DeepEllumArtCo. You can always check my stuff out. I'm Alley Cat Press, Amber Crimmings online as well. And make sure that you're also looking at our virtual galleries. Buy a piece of art, add something beautiful to your life, and also help support a small business entrepreneur, aka artist. Yeah, I'm gonna have a front yard concert at my place on September 5th. We're also doing live streams all this weekend, so we are busy. Make sure you guys are looking out, checking out, and tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow.